Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tales from the Fog. I'm your host, Casey, and once again with me is the beautiful and amazing Veronica.
Aww. Such things you say.
Halloween is next Monday. Can you believe that? It's already here?
I am glad that it's finally here. I mean, when we were monsters, do you remember how quickly the month of October would fly by?
Yeah.
Like, you do your orientation, next thing you knew, it was the walkthroughs, next thing you knew, it was opening night, and then you blinked, and it was Halloween night.
Yep.
It just flew by in a heartbeat. So it's now going on, oh my gosh, this is my 7th season off from doing Knotts. It feels like the month of October is taking forever, and I really just want Halloween to be here, but at the same time, I don't want it to be over. Like, I don't want the haunted stuff to be over.
Yeah.
But I want to dress up, I want to dress the kid up, I want to dress the dog up, and I want to go, trick-or-treating. I want candy, let's be honest.
Candy.
Mm-hmm. I want Snickers. I want full-size Snickers bars. Where do we need to go trick-or-treating to get full-size Snickers bars?
What is your favorite movie to watch on Halloween?
My favorite movie to watch? That is a great question. What's yours?
Probably Trick or Treat.
That's a good one.
That's fairly new, though. Before that, I would always watch the original The Fog.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
I like the really old, like, when, like, the MGM monsters, or who is the monsters, where it's, like, the
classic
ones,
ones, yeah.
The old ones, like, the
Boris
old...
Karloff and...
I was going to say, like, Nosferatu and those old ones. Those, to me, seem like the adult thing to watch on Halloween. Like, there's, like, the normal stuff, like the Nightmare Before Christmas, and then, like, the Friday the 13th, and, like, the newer kind of bloody slasher type movies.
Yeah. Which
I like, but I just never find myself watching them on Halloween. Because I think, like, if I'm missing the haunted season, I'll watch those around, year round, but I won't default to those on Halloween itself. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I have another one. I have a classic one, and I have a fairly new one that I also like to watch. House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price.
That's a good one.
It's the kind of the more classic one. And then also a newer one is 13 Ghosts, the remake with...
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's a scary movie.
It's a very scary movie. The beginning scene when in the junkyard is just amazing. Like, terrified me. I went and saw that in the theater, and it was terrifying.
So cool. Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
So let's go to Lake Forest, to the haunt at Heritage Hill. This was our first time doing it. Their 9th year, I think they said.
I think so.
And it was our first year going because they only do it one weekend out of the entire haunt run. So you got 2 days to check this thing out. And if you miss it, you miss it. So we've just never had the time to get down there when they're actually putting it on. But what did you think? What was your first impressions going in?
Well, the first thing we saw were the lights in the trees. And it was, like, I knew that it was only a weekend event, but I didn't expect such a big, for the event itself to be taken up so high in the sky.
Yeah.
Like the lights go up so high into those trees. And the first thing I was thinking is, like, how do they get those up there? Do they leave them up all year?
They might leave them up all year, but they probably take them down because they have a Christmas thing, too. So I assume maybe they put, like, standard Christmas lights up. Maybe.
Or maybe both lights are running through all the trees, and then at Halloween they turn on one set, and then at Christmas time they turn on another set.
That could be.
I mean, who knows? But that was definitely the first thing I saw was just, it looked cool. It looked like when I envision a Halloween party, that's what came to mind. Like, it just looked just like that. And then you heard the music, and you saw there was a DJ set up, and the DJ had the lights. So there were like these gel lights kind of pointing everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like club lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could hear that walking up to the place too. And parking was a pain, but for us, for some reason, was blessedly easy. Like, we just pulled up and had a spot.
Yeah, the parking lot was full, but we just got lucky.
Yeah, putting it out into the universe, secret style. We just ended up with a really close parking spot. How about you?
I was surprised at how big it was too, because when I heard it was only one weekend, it's like really, it's like kind of like, how much can they really do? Are they going to put? There's an event the weekend before, and there's an event the weekend after.
On
Because
the
I
same
checked
grounds?
the calendar, yeah.
Wow.
So I was in my head, I was like, what are they going to be doing? Because they had basically 5 days to set up, and then they have 5 days to tear it out.
That's amazing how they can put all of that together in 5 days. Now, when the thing goes on for just those 2 nights, and they have, once you go in, you see, and it's a fairly sized, plot of land that they do this in.
Yeah, Heritage Hill is I believe it's a city-run park, and they have a lot of historic buildings from the area. So I don't think the buildings are in their original locations. I believe kind of like the church at Knott.
Yeah.
Like I believe they just kind of picked these historic buildings up and moved them into one place. So you can go a lot of, like during the school year, a lot of kids go there and they tour like the original schoolhouse and some of the other buildings that are there. So it's kind of like a local landmark area, but it's also a park where just with paths that you can walk around and look at the old buildings. Mm-hmm. Going in, it was really cool because they had 2 scare zones. They were both fairly small, but fun.
Very small.
But they had these cool, like if you have younger kids, you can take these bypasses to get you around the scare zones. And in the very back of the park, they had a movie screen set up where they're playing old black and white horror movies. They had laser tag. They had carnival games for kids. So if you had younger kids that didn't want to do the haunted houses or the scare zones, there was stuff to keep them occupied.
There was food there. There was Chick-fil-A was there selling meals, and then you can get cans of soda and stuff.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the prizes were candy of some kind. Like if you played one of the carnival games, then like a consolation prize would be a bit of candy or something like that. And then popcorn was free.
Yay,
if you
popcorn.
wanted to go get popcorn. And the place was, there were some families there, but it was a sea of adolescents. It was like high school. Maybe some junior high kids, but it really was. It seemed like every high schooler in the area was there.
Yeah, if you live in South Orange County area, and you were middle school to high school, but mostly high school, this was the place to be this weekend.
It reminded me.
Everybody was there.
Yeah, it was like, it was a dance in the auditorium.
Yeah.
Like, because we were telling about the DJ that was playing and you can see the lights from out there. There was actually like a part of the park that was set aside to be a dance floor.
And it was packed all night.
All night. And the top 40s were jamming and the kids were dancing and trying to impress each other and pretending that they weren't scared. It was pretty cute.
Sometimes the monsters would run over and dance and mosh pit.
Mm-hmm. It was very lighthearted. Like, none of them took themselves very seriously. The monsters, you can tell, were having fun, but they weren't, you come across some monsters here and there who take their job too seriously. This wasn't a place for that at all. I'm sure they were all volunteers. They weren't concerned about, trying to be the best monster. Like, they don't have Slider of the Year.
Well, yeah,
there's no place to slide.
Everything out there's dirt, so.
Yeah. But the scare zones were cute. There was one, when you first walked in to the right, was a very small, it was foggy, which was super cool. It had cool lighting and some bits lining, each sides of the pathway for, decor. And they had a couple of facade type things. Like there was a wagon.
Yeah, it was kind of like a gypsy cab wagon type thing.
Yeah, and like sort of like Little Dead Riding Hood characters walking through. There was a werewolf who loved to dance and would find every small child he could and would just start boogieing with them. It was very cute to watch. And then on the other side was a more, intense might be an intense word to use, but it was a little bit more scary. It was a little longer, a little bigger.
Yeah.
It was
kind of, I don't know what the theme was, though. It was kind of zombies.
It was kind of hodgepodge. There was a dude in a dirty wife beater and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
That old archetype. But it was just scary.
Scary things in the fog.
Yeah. And it was pretty scary. So we walked through, the schoolhouse is cool because they actually let you go inside it instead of, it being kind of all looky, no touchy. They actually let you go inside. And it's a typical schoolhouse where there's one in-hole and one out-hole and you go in the in-hole and out the out-hole and that's it. But you get to see the actual inside. So you've got the desks, they're all pushed to either side, and you kind of walk through the middle, and there's a monster standing there looking super creepy with her little teddy bear, and you're looking at her, and you're looking at this video that's playing, and then you don't even notice the stuff that's going on the side. And then Casey got scared, which I love.
Heck yeah.
Because, like, Casey never gets scared. He's really looking at his surroundings, and he's aware of where the monsters are and where they should be, so he's not the easiest to get on a startle scare. This chick got him good.
Yeah, she got me really good. And it just came from a place that you just completely did not expect it at all, which was great.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I was laughing my ass off, and I was distracted, and then everything in the maze scared me after that.
Yeah, because once you have that first good scare, it's like all bets are off after that.
Yeah, well, you're relaxed, you're laughing, you're just having a good time, and then there's a rhythm to it. You're walking at a certain pace, you're getting scared at a certain pace, and the monsters pick up on that. And, you know, if they're intuitive monsters, they'll pick up on that rhythm, and you'll catch the scares. It's a weird biological thing that actually I've always wondered about that. Like when we went through, oh my gosh, years ago when we went to Horror Nights and we went through the Walking Dead maze before it was the permanent installation.
Yeah, this was back with the first year I believe it was when they did the second season because it had the jailhouse part in it.
So we were going through there, and I remember the maze, but the rhythm that the monsters were scaring me, I was literally ping-ponged back and forth, ding-dong, through the whole maze. Like,
yeah.
I was the entire time, and I barely remember it because I was screaming.
That's the way that Universal is, you know, they have all those scenes, and if you miss it, you miss it. You know, you just see the scene resetting, but for whatever reason, when we went through that maze, we hit every single scare, and it was great. I don't even know if you really stood up through most of it. You were kind of like hunched over the whole time.
I was hunched over, and as soon as I would get my bearings and stand upright, I would get slammed in the face again with the next gag.
Yeah.
It was nonstop. I was screaming so hard and laughing so hard, the person behind us was asking me if I was okay. And like, I'm not a wuss in a haunted house. I love haunted houses. I don't get scared. I don't think I'm going to die. But for some reason, I was so involved emotionally that I just lost it, and I loved it. I mean, I never feared for my life, but the startle scares were intense. But anyway, I digress. But it felt like that, where, you know, walking through the schoolhouse maze, they had a sense of that rhythm, and they knew when to get you. Yeah,
and the cool thing about the maze was it was kind of, it's called Heritage Hill because it's a hill. So the schoolhouse is kind of at the top of the hill. And when you went out the back, you started kind of winding down the back side of the hill. So there were sections of kind of like haunted house, like you would expect with walls and talent. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of go out of it and you'd be on the path and you'd go down lower down on the hill, and then you go back into a maze section. And then you go through that, and then you go back outside and go farther down the hill. And it was pretty neat. It was kind of like a half haunted trail, half haunted house style.
It was good use of their space. They really utilized the flat spaces or the flatter spaces to, you know, they'd put some sort of scene or they'd put a gag there or something. And it wasn't too much. They didn't feel the need to decorate everything. Yeah. They didn't over decorate anything. It was very subtle and, you know, effective, I thought.
It was a lot longer than I thought it would be too.
Yeah, that path once you left the schoolhouse, once you left the maze proper, was really long. Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful, the hill that it was on. It was overlooking a ranch.
Yeah, there was like Horse Ranch or something down below it.
It was gorgeous. And then you kind of walk around the house and you're walking on this dirt path and you see this big hill next to you and the house is right there, or the schoolhouse is right there. It was neat. And the people running it were very nice. And we were just, you know, shooting the shit, talking to the people who were, the guy who was in charge of just line control almost for.
Well, he was part of the city of Lake Forest.
He ended up being a big part of it, but we didn't know that at the time. We were just, you know, asking him questions about the thing, and he was like, you know what, I'll be right back. And he ended up, like, you know, comping us a couple of t-shirts just because he was nice and he was excited that we were excited. Yeah. You know, we were absolutely ready to pay. Like, I wanted to go get t-shirts because I loved the place. And I was floored by the artwork on the t-shirts for an event that goes for 2 days.
Yeah, it's some of the coolest t-shirt I've ever seen.
It's neat. And the only reason you would think that it isn't this month-long epic haunt is on the back of the shirt, it actually says 2 nights of fears or something.
Yeah.
It announces it's only a weekend. Like, if without that, you
Yeah.
would never know. I mean, it's a scary t-shirt.
Yeah, it's really cool. I haven't checked if it glows in the dark yet, though, but
Oh, I don't know.
kind of looks like it might.
Maybe.
So then there's a second haunted house, which was the Joker's sideshow or something. I think
It was clown-based.
it was clowns and sideshow.
Yeah. It was shorter.
Yeah, it was like maybe 4 rooms long, 4 or 5.
I lost count because of that child that was for some reason attached to us.
Yeah. We kind of picked up a hitchhiker along the route.
This kid. Okay, so you imagine the typical haunt guest, who's probably like junior high or high school, is attached at the elbow with all of their friends, but they're dudes. So they're all pretending to be macho, pretending not to be scared, but then one will be scared and they'll all explode in a scream and be scared.
Yeah.
This kid was in a group of kids. They were all younger than 11. I'm thinking this one was 9.
Probably, yeah. That's about
Not much
right.
older than Xander. So he's like maybe 8 or 9. You know, tough kid. He's got an attitude. He's with his mom, you know, and his 3 friends. And they're walking through the maze and he gets scared and it gets scared forward. So he's running forward and then runs into Casey and grabs him by the arm. I'm like, what the hell? And he's, you know, like, I'm not scared. And he gets scared and he goes,
And then he left.
And then
he
he
ran away from me backwards,
Yeah.
back into the maze somewhere.
And then he found me, so I'm like hugging this strange child. Like, I hope his mom doesn't think that I'm going to try to steal him or something. I'm like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. And he's laughing. He's like, I'm not scared. Ah! Get scared. And then I couldn't help it because I'm an asshole. After the maze was over, he already trusts me. He trusts Casey. So I run up ahead of him. And when he comes out of the maze, I scare the shit out of him. He was so mad.
And I don't know why kids were so scared. The only thing I could think of is with all the clown shenanigans going around the country,
Maybe.
it just kind of like heightened the scary factor of it because there weren't that many talent in it. I mean, it was a small maze. So it was like maybe 5 talent in there.
There were not many people scaring, but there were enough. You know,
Yeah.
there was like 1 talent per room, and they just, you know how kids get really excited about stuff. He was just super excited.
Yep.
And the other kids in the group weren't like that. He was just special. He was an interesting little kid.
Yeah, so Haunted Heritage Hill, it's a really fun event, especially if you have, you know, take the family. If you have older kids, they can go through the haunted houses. It's only $8, which is an amazing deal for a night out.
Yeah, it was definitely worth the money. And it was cash, which they didn't list on the website that it was cash only, but they did have several ATMs nearby.
Yeah.
That, you know, it wasn't a big deal. So a
And,
couple
you know,
bucks.
if you want to see if your kid will be okay at a haunted attraction, that's a great place to go. Because, again, there's, like, ways to go around it if you need to. And if they get so freaked out, you have to take them home. It was only $8 a person, so you're not out, like, the $80 if you go to Universal.
Not somewhere you'd want to spend a lot of time, just due to the volume of people and
Yeah,
the
there's
music and
lot of
everything. It
people.
was, like, you can tell the later it was getting, the more teenagers were there.
Yeah.
So we left a little bit early. We didn't stay for very long.
Yeah, we weren't there too long. You know, the best thing that I would think to do if you're going to go, there's a really good pizza place in the shopping center where you park. And so, you know, maybe just go early, have some pizza, and then go in for a couple hours.
Yeah, there's plenty
You
of
know.
stuff to do around there in that shopping center. You know, the Heritage Hill itself, there's an Albertsons. It's an actual, like strip mall, I guess. It's Lake
It's a
Forest.
regular
so,
shopping center.
Yeah, just a outdoor shopping center. And then the hill is off to one side of the shopping center. So as far as, like we were saying, that parking was kind of a bitch, it really wasn't. It was parking that was super close to the entrance was kind of a bitch. But there was plenty of parking in the parking lot of the place, of just the whole shopping center. That,
Yeah.
I mean,
You just have to walk a ways.
yeah, you have
get
to
to the
walk a
entrance.
whole minute and a half. It wasn't that big a deal. But I loved it. I can't wait to go again.
I liked it too. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And the other kiddos seem to have a lot of fun too.
Well, the next thing we're going to talk about is the big one.
The big one.
The annual trek to Knott's Scary Farm.
We have to go every year. It's super important to us as, as scare actors, because we spend so much time there, and we've met a lot of our really good friends there. I mean, some of the people that I, have known since I started, almost since before I started, in the preemptive, getting ready for haunt times when I met people, I'm still good friends with them. It was something about the event itself that, like, everybody kind of gravitated to their own and became lifelong friends. I mean, there are people that, I'm grateful every day that they are my friend, and I've known them for, over a decade, and It's because of Scary Farm. And I owe, my personality as it is now, I owe it to Scary Farm, because before I started, I was super quiet. I didn't like talking very much in front of people. I mean, I was an actor, but that was different. That was on stage, like, as far as actual, person-to-person interaction, I was not good at it at all. Mm-hmm. It was Scary Farm that helped me. It kind of pushed the extreme. So I was going from super quiet to super annoying and loud and crazy and, using all your energy towards the guests. But being able to push that boundary, I was able to kind of identify, who I am today. So the fact that I'm willing to just get up and, stand in front of hundreds of people and talk, with no problem. I can, talk to almost anybody. The fact that I do what I do creatively. I mean, it's because of Scary Farm. So, I mean, it's no small thing to be able to do it every year. It's still kind of, it makes me a little bit emotional being able to go there and know exactly what it's done in my life. And I know it seems a little bit more dramatic but it really is.
It's true though. You when you work as a scare actor, especially at Knott's Berry Farm, but pretty much anywhere, you find out a lot about yourself in the process of finding your character. And on top of that, every haunted attraction I've ever worked at, basically is like a family. Being a haunt actor is really hard. People don't realize it's a lot of fun, but it's really hard, especially if you're working another job during the day. You're coming in at night, you're working till sometimes 2, 3 in the morning, and then you're going home, sleeping a couple hours, and going to your regular job, then going right back to the haunt. And so going through that, all the monsters there are going through that same emotional arc through the season, and you have your good days and your bad days, and it just kind of brings everybody together, and only people that work it know how somebody that works it feels. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of that bond of like, I know what you're going through kind of a thing, that really just like, binds you guys together. But yeah, for me too, I could owe a lot of what I do to Knott's, just because, the amount of freedom that I don't know if they still do, but, before you had a lot of freedom as an actor at Knott's to really develop your own character and come up with your own style of scaring, and you literally just create your own alternate being and perform it at night. And that was a lot of fun to figure out. And
yeah, if that's something that you take joy in, then it's an incredible journey to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is hard. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but guests, I don't think the typical guest understands that it's not like a common thing, especially on Saturday nights when it's really busy. Guests will say things like, this is minimum wage. This is your job. You're a loser. I'm like, no, you just said that to a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah. We have
know.
like professional musicians, lawyers, doctors, and they're just doing it for fun.
Yeah. This is the release that, you get to just be. I still get goosebumps. I get goosebumps thinking about it because that's home. So the annual visit is always a good time. So
it is.
This year, it did not disappoint.
It was one of my favorite years of going to haunt ever, I think.
It was really good.
They blew it out of the park this year. Like, everything was just awesome. The first thing we did was Dead of Winter. which was redone by Daniel Miller from last year, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I heard some early reviews that were kind of mixed on it, but I thought they did an amazing job on it. The new art direction was great. It was a little darker. Talent was amazing in there. They were just going off, and it was a Sunday night. We went on Sunday, so it was the last night of, a 5-day run or whatever. And they were still on fire in there, so.
And numerous.
Yeah.
There were tons of talent everywhere. And the costuming was beautiful. You guys know I'm a sucker for costume. And, oh man, it was the textures and the choices that they made and the props that they used, and it was so cool.
And the big Wendigo animatronic at the end was really cool.
That was really
kind of
cool.
Sucked that it wasn't working.
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
Because it was kind of static, but
it looked
looked really awesome.
Everything in there looked badass, and the big rock monster that used to be
the big
in
rock
Labyrinth,
monster. Yeah,
I don't remember that dude's name, but he was in there.
Rocky,
I guess. I know he's got a name. I know there's somebody listening to this yelling right now.
His name's
this
Bob.
Name, but, So, what did we do after Dead of Winter besides go to the Jackie Farm?
After that, we did Shadowlands.
Oh my god.
Which was I think it was my favorite maze of the year.
It was, can we make it a drinking game how many times we're going to say the word stunning in this podcast?
Or awesome.
Amazing. Because this one was just so cool. The outside, this is a unique spot. This is where, behind Accelerator. So you kind of walk along the train track and you're underneath the Accelerator ride, where this thing is built. So it's all outdoors and they've got a lot of space.
Yeah.
And the facade where they put it it's always so cool. It was like not Jack the Ripper. It was like a Houdini or a magic something.
Black magic?
Yeah. Was back there before. Thank you. Was back there before. And that facade always looked super cool.
Yeah.
So this one, it wasn't.
This one was really simple.
But it
was
neat.
really cool.
Whatever they used in the lighting to make
had
the
like
characters.
a Japanese, pagoda arch.
Yeah. And
it
there
just
was
had a bunch of Japanese symbols on it that glowed.
Yeah, there's like illuminated kanji, but it was from the inside. I don't know how they did it, but it looked really cool.
Well, that's why I don't know if you saw me, but I was touching the facade as we walked in. Because I wanted to see if it was backlit or not. And I think it was projected.
That is so cool.
I think it was, because when I touched where the lettering was.
Was it soft?
It wasn't. No, it was hard. And so that's why I was like, well, it seemed like it was a solid object, so I don't think there was a way to backlight it. So that's why I'm thinking it had to have been projected.
I don't know. We'll have to ask John Cook next time. When we get him on the podcast.
Yeah, let's get him on the podcast.
That would be awesome. Once the haunt dust settles, there are so many people that I want to talk to and pick their brain about how their season went and how they did this and that, and maybe, pull the curtain and see some secrets. So the inside, I don't know if I want to talk too much about the maze. I don't want to give anything away.
There's only 1 week left. So if you want to go next
you only
weekend.
have, by the time this airs, you've got less than a week, kids. But it was what you walk through in the very beginning was super cool. The different.
We can kind of talk generally about it. So, the entrance, you start by going through the suicide forest.
Mm-hmm. It's creepy.
Really
hell.
well done. It's probably the best forest scene Knott's has ever done.
Yeah.
They've done a few with Alien Attack and Blood Bayou and Voodoo. But this one was just really well done. It felt dense, I guess is the word.
Yeah. It felt like there's no way you could roll a wheelchair through there, even though you could. Mm-hmm. It was very thick. And there were a lot of monsters everywhere. There were great hiding places. They almost looked like part of the forest.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
But basically you're following this samurai soldier who commits suicide to go into the Shadowlands and redeem his life, I guess, or something.
I don't know.
Something along those lines. But there was a lot of really cool crap in there.
Yeah. A lot of use of, old tactics and new ones. The makeup
amazing
was great.
Puppets. There was some really cool puppets in there.
Oh yeah.
and the ending scene was just amazing. And I don't want to spoil the ending scene, but
but we left the maze going, whoa!
It was so cool. Like, I just loved it.
That was a neat
That had to
one.
be one of the most fun talent positions too. Like, I would think that's not like really like a scaring position, but
No,
you might be able to do a little bit of scaring, but it was just really cool.
Yeah. So congratulations, John. That's an awesome maze.
Yeah.
You did a great job, dude.
Amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to another one of John's mazes next. We went to Infected,
Yep.
which, it was a Sunday night, pretty early on, and already had about an hour wait when we got to it.
Yeah, that one, from what I heard guests saying as we were walking through, that one had the longest line of any maze in the park.
Yeah.
It was consistently at least an hour long.
But I will give them credit. They said they were going to get guests through faster without having to do the time tickets. And you know what? They did a great job.
Yeah.
Like, the line consistently moved, and, you know, you weren't standing in one spot for a long time like the last 2 years. You know, they got you through, they got you your guns, and you were on your way. They moved people through very quickly. So they did what they said they were going to do. You know, it's a very, very popular attraction. And I heard on Saturdays it was hitting 4.5 hour waits.
Oh my gosh, that's
So,
universal level
yeah.
rates.
And it's just, you know, it's just a popular attraction.
Well, it's not every day you get to fight back.
Yeah.
You know, going through these attractions, you're the victim or you're the observer. You don't ever get to, and if you do, you get kicked out of the park and possibly have charges, pressed against you. But, this time you have the little gun. Oh, it's not little. I mean, it's a
it's a good size. It's like a
little assault rifle. But what's cool is there was either the previous maze that was there was a video playing. I think that was the Jack the Ripper maze, where there was a really cool
Terror of London.
Yeah, so there was a neat video playing that kind of was like a news story and like a little thing that kind of started bringing you into the world that you're about to go through. This one had the same thing, and what was cool for us, there were some familiar faces in there.
Yep.
We're like, oh, that's so and so. Oh, that's so and so. So that was neat. The designer had a place in there. And, there's also another thing. I love Easter eggs when they put things like that. There's the name of the company that the Army dudes are part of is a derivative of the name of, or a pseudonym of the person who designed the maze. Which, unless you knew what he did for a living, you wouldn't, or, for his other job, you wouldn't know that that's what that was.
Yeah.
But if you did, it was like just a really cool thing to see. So I got a picture of that, and we'll be posting that on the blog. But, just little things like that, you don't get if you are just a guest. Like, once you do the haunt and then you come back, there's so much more.
Pretty much every single maze at Knott's Berry Farm has little hidden Easter eggs in it that if you know things either from previous attractions or designers or other general things about the haunt, you'll find it very funny when you see it.
Yeah. There's a Decayed Brigade.
There is, yep. I saw
graffiti
that.
It's
actually
missed.
Pretty big, too.
I know, I saw the picture, but...
It's like, probably 2 or 3 feet tall by like 2 feet wide. It's
so
like
cool.
Huge. Like, it's the Decayed Brigade symbol, just like graffitied on one of the walls and in the attraction.
So neat. I didn't see it because I was too worried about getting shot or getting eaten by zombies. And then I shot our battalion leader, and he got super pissed off.
That was awesome.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
And it was great so it was a lot more close quarter combat. It was a lot tighter spaces. Zombies were popping out and they were on top of you. What was cool about that is I actually got a death.
Yeah, I did too.
Like, I got killed once, which was awesome.
Yeah, the whole gun lit up and started yelling at you.
Yeah, before when it was in Camp Snoopy, it was all long range, so you never got that intensity of like your gun beeping like you're getting attacked.
Mm-hmm. And they were slower.
And this
monsters
time
were
they were very fast. The zombies popped out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're like turning a corner and a zombie pops out at you and you're like swinging around trying to shoot it in the head.
And the proximity sensors, there's like a collar or something that the monster wears that when you shoot it, and it's kind of like, the Buzz Lightyear ride where you shoot it and you get points for all your kills. You have to do double tap to the head or else they don't die. Like, they just slow down, I guess, but they don't really slow down because there's no way for any mechanism to know that you didn't get a headshot. But like they'll go down once you give them a headshot, but they can only go down for like a half a second because the person behind you is also shooting them. So they have to like pop back up and down and continuously die. So I'm sure the quads on those monsters are just, completely built. But it was so like you were going so much faster.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a big old group with a battalion leader, everyone kind of herd over here and watch a monitor and then herd over here. No, this was like go, go, go the whole time. And it was very stressful, but it was super cool.
It was fun, yeah. And the set's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I kind of wanted it to be longer, though.
I did, but I was so exhausted when it was done. Like, I was emotionally ready for it to go away.
I think if it was like 2 or 3 rooms longer, I would have been completely satisfied.
That's fair. I wonder if they could have done that with the layout that's over there. I mean, it's a big place for, for a maze out behind them. It's behind the Bigfoot area. So they actually extend the wall of, like, the boundary of the park out, like 10 feet or however far to, to put the maze there. Most of the maze is backstage. So I imagine they could extend it farther, but you've got to think the A2 gate's right there, so fire trucks have to go by. Yeah. So they might not be able to build that way, but, it's built around the corner some years, too.
They could build back towards...
Like on the other side of the log ride. Like towards the mural.
Not the log ride.
Not
Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot ride.
Yeah, they could push it back on the backside of Bigfoot.
Yeah. Maybe.
Make it a little bigger. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, though. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. It was
the best version of Infected they've done yet.
Definitely.
So they definitely took what they learned and made it better.
Mm-hmm. The makeup looked so cool.
Yeah.
Scary as hell. The costuming was scary as hell.
Next year, what they need to work on is when you get the headshot, maybe have like a blood splatter mechanism on the heads of the zombies so you get that splatter going. That'd be really cool.
Very fulfilling. And then they should actually bite you too. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, let's not do that. That sounds awful.
We did have that idea in line though, where if you do get killed, you get dragged into the back of the maze and then you have to work it as a zombie.
That'd be so cool.
That'd be fun.
Aside from being a liability issue, it would be super fun if you do end up getting caught and killed. Then you have to put on the collar and scare guests for however many, like you're in the doghouse for 20 minutes or however long. People would intentionally die just so that they could do that.
Probably.
And then it'd be a mess. But in theory, it'd be so fun.
I died.
Oh, no.
God, what did we do next? The Red Barn.
We did go to Red Barn. We walked through Ghost Town a little bit. Yeah. Looking for some
We'll talk about the streets after the mazes.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of Red Barn?
It was creepy. Ugh. The premise of it is, it's, how do I put it? It's one of those topics in a scary movie that always leaves me a little uncomfortable.
Well, because it's the kind of thing that could really happen.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like Misery, that movie, like it could actually happen. This, this weird cult, House of 1,000 Corpses, like there's no, aside from Dr. Satan, there's no real monster. The monsters are the people. Yeah. This, Red Barn is that same kind of premise.
Which was interesting because the characters in Red Barn, they pretty much didn't have any makeup. They were just people.
But they had that same
maybe
outfit
they had some
on.
like blood splatter on them or something. But other than that, they were just people, which was really interesting.
It was very minimal. And it was also disturbing. Yeah. Because a monster with a prosthetic, you can spot out of nowhere. But a dude with a dirty face and some grungy overalls, I mean, it comes at you like the scare. To me, it seemed a little bit more intense because I was looking at the guy and I didn't realize that he was a monster until he scared me. But the premise of, like, there was this cool audio thing playing while you were in line that was, like, talking about almost describing the Aryan race, but it wasn't like that. They were describing the perfect person, like they didn't have odd-colored hair, no marks on the skin, like talking like no tattoos. It was this weird cult-like announcement that just, I knew it was I knew it was all part of the show, but it was really upsetting. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like those people exist somewhere. Probably in the United States, which is even more creepy. But I mean, it was really cool, the whole premise of going in, and the line was pretty short, which was nice.
Yeah.
And it had some Aristotelian unities in it. Like, you never left the barn. With the whole maze, you went through a barn.
Yeah.
And that was it.
It was really cool. The design of it was really interesting. I've heard people give mixed reviews on it, and I think it's maybe because they didn't understand the design of the attraction, what the artistic direction was, and how they wanted to take the attraction. Like, it was supposed to be kind of like a throwback to the 70s Grindhouse films. Mm-hmm. So it was like supposed to be very real, very gory, and it hit all those marks. You know, you went into the barn and it felt like you were in a barn, and, you know, you were walking basically kind of through like a hay maze for a lot of it. There was no traditional, like, haunt walls. And I think maybe that confused people, or maybe people didn't like it.
No, they were there, but they were so ingrained in the facade.
Yeah, what was done I thought was amazing, because it felt like you were really in a barn.
It did, especially the forced level change.
Yeah, so there's like some areas where you have to like kind of crouch down and walk under a like a walkway, I guess.
It was like almost like a catwalk.
Yeah.
That you go under, but it makes you, crouch down a bit. It's maybe like 4 feet.
I will say that was kind of a missed opportunity, and I don't know, maybe they did it and we missed it at the wrong time, but I would have loved to have the Gray Man, which whoever that guy is, he's like the main character of whatever's going on. We never saw the Gray Man. Mm-hmm. That spot would have been the perfect spot to have a character actor who could be the Gray Man and have him walking on the catwalk above, like giving some kind of speech or something.
Yeah.
And that would have just been creepy, having to walk under him with the main guy that's, causing all this death and mayhem, and he's just giving some kind of creepy ass speech.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been stellar. And at the very least, somebody with a shaker can, to get the overhead scare.
Yeah.
Would have been effective as well. Wouldn't have been nearly as poetic, but it would have been, I was expecting an overhead scare.
I was too.
Because there is, the Doll Factory had a lot of overhead scares, and that was in the same location. Because you had
They did?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't remember any in the Doll Factory.
And maybe it wasn't Doll Factory. Maybe it was before that.
Tooth Fairy does. Because you walk under the chain link and they have the monster on top of the chain link.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But there was, there was opportunities for overhead scaring. Yeah. But this one, that was the right place for it. Would have been to have someone camped up there. But
yeah,
maybe there is, and we just didn't.
Yeah, you never know, because with these mazes, it's all about your timing.
Yeah. We came across that when we went through another maze, that you saw the setup, but you didn't, there were no actors in there at all.
Yeah.
Aw, the guy called in sick.
Let's see, what did we do next? Oh, Trick or Treat, which it was our first time going through it since they had redone it with the new scenes of like the attic at the end. And I think that it's been a couple years, but we've kind of skipped it because the line the last couple years when we went was just ridiculously long.
Yeah, and there wasn't anything really changed from the year prior, so we figured we'd use the time we had to go into something that was either new for the year or, had some changes going on. But this year the line was short, which was great, and then we got to walk underneath the new Ghost Rider build. Yeah. That was cool too. And, we got a chance to see the new revamped version of Trick or Treat. And I think as far as the mood was the same. Yeah. That it was kind of playful, kind of definitely scary, but same kind of thing where it's like in the right horrible mix, this could happen. Yeah. And, aside from the witch, which is obviously supernatural, the actors who, the little shitheads with the masks,
those trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. Like those people exist. And they kill people.
Yeah.
So that was
And
fun.
we got to see the sheet ghost.
We did! Oh
That
my
was really
God.
awesome to come around the corner and see the sheet ghost.
For real, the for real sheet ghost. It was so awesome. I felt like I
Yeah.
saw a celebrity. I wanted to take a picture, but I couldn't get the phone out. And I was like, oh my God! This is the first time I'd ever seen the sheet ghost. I've only heard stories.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I saw her last year on Ghost Town.
Yeah, I know I've heard legends, but I've never actually seen it. So that was awesome.
Yep.
Pretty legendary.
It's always exciting to see it's always exciting to see the sheet ghost.
It's the little things that make us happy. But going through that maze was neat, had its gross
I
moments.
liked the there was like the I don't know what you call it, like the herbology room with all the
Oh yeah.
with all the like different plants and
Yeah, that was beautiful.
that was really, really cool.
I liked it. It was kind of like a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Like you're walking through a greenhouse. It was pretty. I liked that they used the above the overhead rotating thing to make the stuff fly around.
Yeah.
They used that again. I love that gag. I think it's neat because it instantly draws your eyes up, making you super vulnerable to any scare.
Mm-hmm.
I love those kind of gags where, it's just human nature to look in one direction and then, super easy to get the scare from the other side.
Yep.
Good stuff.
I loved
Go
it.
to the attic, you get to see the witch.
We kind of came in at the end of her little speech, so I think we missed some of the cool little
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
things.
Like one year we went through it and it was like
It was like
almost
the
like a mini
dining
play.
room or something.
yeah, like
And that's when like the chandelier falls and like all that
Yeah.
stuff. So they do the same thing at the end, but I think we came at like the tail end of it.
oh, okay.
So we kind of missed all the stuff that happens.
Still look cool.
Yeah. It was a really cool scene.
Yeah. So what did we do after trick or treat? We went over to what's the bayou? Voodoo.
Oh yeah, Voodoo.
Voodoo is cool. Voodoo is one of those staples where I don't know how much longer it's going to be around, but I'm glad it is still around.
And it's such an amazing maze, but every single year there's no line for it, which is really weird.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Like it's always, every year we've gone, it's been a walk on.
It seems so odd. I mean, do people just look and see the two mazes that the queue starts right in front of that walkway and then just don't look to the left?
I don't know.
I have no idea what that
It's always,
phenomenon is.
it's always puzzled me why that, cause it's one of the coolest mazes that they've done. And,
Yeah.
it has, so for those that don't know, it's like a Southern Bayou kind of a theme. And so you start in kind of the French Quarter. So there's these amazing kind of like Disneyland French Quarter style buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a new beginning, which I guess was the Skeleton Key Room.
Oh, okay.
And they opened it up. So that's what we went through. So there were, basically for us, because we don't do the Skeleton Key Room stuff, a whole new room for us to explore at the very beginning, which was cool.
It was gorgeous. The theming in there was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was cool, like, black magic stuff and weird little body parts in jars and lots of this weird herbalist type thing.
Yeah,
and
it kind of seemed like a black magic store.
it was a shop.
Maybe like a
Yeah,
voodoo store.
They had like an old cash register.
Yeah.
It was cool, and it was dusty and dirty and grimy, and there were two places where talent could hide, even though the room wasn't very big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was neat. It was
It was
very
really
well
cool.
executed.
But then you go inside and you end up in the bayou, and they actually flood the bottom of the warehouse with real water,
Yep.
which is amazing. And you're kind of walking on these catwalks above the swamp.
Yeah,
There's
you're working like on docks.
Alligators in there and all kinds of cool stuff.
Weird, like bird people.
The problem that I have with this maze is it's so beautiful in like a design aspect that I get so tied up in the design that I completely ignore the actors.
That is unfortunate. They got me. I mean, duh.
Mm-hmm.
But I was caught up in looking around at everything, and I looked one direction, and then I turned around to walk to where I needed to be, and the monster was right there.
Yeah.
Got me good. That same old thing where your eye's drawn over here, and the monster appears right next to you. But, I mean, I got scared. We ended up going through that maze twice, and the same monster got me both times.
Yep.
While I was looking directly at him. Not sure how that happened, but he was good.
And there's some really cool props. There's
Yeah.
like an above ground mausoleum that a monster can hide in and pop out. It's kind of like a Universal style scare. They have like the little push button and like makes, lights and sound and they pop out and it's really cool. But at the very, very end is like this gigantic python head that comes up and actually eats. There's like a person strung up from the roof, and then the head comes up from the ground and it like actually grabs onto the body and like starts pulling it down a little bit.
Ugh, so gross.
It's really cool.
It's a beautiful gag. And then there's another one that's like a puppet that, got all of us.
Yeah.
It was just, you saw it coming, but for some reason it was so disorienting.
Do we know if those ones were in-house built or if they bought those? Because that
I don't
python
know.
thing is amazing.
I don't know.
I've never seen it before, so
We could ask Jim.
yeah.
We know there's a couple of guys that work on the FX teams there that, get the cool back, the behind the scenes peek into how these things are built. That's another person I'd like to get on the podcast, him and Big John.
Yep.
Because they've got an interesting perspective on, how the event comes to be. So we went through Voodoo, and then did we go back through Ghost Town? Headed out to the...
Well, the next maze we did was
Was that
Paranormal Inc.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we walked around for a while.
Yeah.
And then we went into Paranormal Inc. And then we ran into some friends, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And last time we went in, we went to the right. Because they divide you. There's this
Yeah.
whole opening thing.
It's a very Universal style, like,
Is this another John
show.
Cook maze?
It is a John Cook maze.
Of course.
So the beginning, it's kind of like a actual like theme park attraction. It doesn't seem like a haunt. Like there's a whole pre-show that happens. Willow just wants to be on this podcast.
At least she barked when no one was talking.
Yeah. This year we made sure we went to the left, so we got to see the other side. And I actually like the left side way better
I
than
did
the right
too.
side.
Yeah, there was a beautiful gag that, with this like magical book turning and like something happened with it that was really cool and completely unexpected. And I hadn't seen anything like that in a maze at Scary Farm. That was really cool to see them do that. And the old, I guess it's like, if anyone's going to be pissed off about an asylum and, people being sick, that maze has stretchers and wheelchairs and is quite obviously, in a hospital. Why no one got pissed off about that, I'm not really sure. But, it is what it is. But, there was all that kind of stuff strewn throughout the maze. And then the paths are separated for a while, and then they converge, and then it's just a normal, one track maze through the whole thing. And it's cool. It's scary and gory, and the talent was on, and it was late too. It was like 10:30 or 11
I think you
o'clock.
probably got the best scare of the night.
Which one?
At the very end, the big puppet head that came out and just scared the crap out of you.
I was scared. I was stunned. Like, I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
This thing just comes out. Oh my God. It was so good. I was laughing so hard I was crying.
Yeah.
I'm crying now laughing. That was so fun.
And that's pretty much what all the mazes we did. We skipped Gunslingers and Tooth Fairy just because we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, it was
For being
Sunday.
a Sunday, it was actually pretty busy and we had to go to work on Monday. So
That's what I
it
say.
is what it is. When they have that many things to do, you
Yeah.
kind of have to pick and choose.
Are they back up to 13 mazes?
With the skeleton key stuff this year, it's 13, but
Okay.
it's 9 mazes, I think.
That's plenty.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
It was
of
more
stuff
than
to
we
do.
could get through.
Yeah, we didn't catch the hanging this year. And we could have, I guess, but, we were, I was gushing about Ghost Town. Like, we spent a good hour and a half
Yeah.
in Ghost Town just taking pictures and, stealing monsters for a quick hug. Shush, don't tell anybody. And, catching up with monsters and everything. So that ate up a good amount of time. So we probably could have caught a show or two, but we
Yeah.
didn't.
We went through I think it's called the Hollows, which is the new one, which is over in CS. And they had some cool characters, but it was really light on talent.
That was an interesting thing. I think if we had gone back, we may have seen some more. Like once it's darker and the fog has a chance to stick to the ground, maybe we could have caught the Headless Horseman. But going through at Rope Drop, there was not a lot. And we saw a lot of talent walking from, presumably Warehouse P through the crowd waiting at Rope Drop, walking down the street to go up to Lucy's to get changed. Like, knowing what they were, it was, you can tell, like, they're not getting in there until 6:30. So at Rope Drop, there's only going to be so many talent actually dressed and ready to go on the streets. And it was raining. So their guys had their gear on, guys and gals, but they weren't able to slide anywhere. So that was kind of a bummer and might have taken away from it a little bit. The Thunder Jugs definitely came out because kids couldn't slide. But yeah, like the front line at Rope Drop had a decent amount of monsters, but nothing like when you do the like the Terror Tram. And you've got this sea of chainsaws. It was nothing like that. There was maybe 6 or 7 talent at Rope Drop, and then you walked past the talent, and you ran into maybe 4 talent, and 2 of them.
Well, no, those were the same talent.
Yeah, it was at Rope Drop, and they just ran forward. So, not a lot going on. Once you pass the threshold,
there wasn't any props or anything either. There was literally nothing. In there.
I mean, maybe because it's Camp Snoopy and they want to keep it clean for day ops. I mean, that could be why. I'm not really sure. But the lighting in that little that new thing that they built with the bridges, and then there's this cool
over
area
by the waterfall.
Yeah, that was really cool to just sit and look at. But it wasn't. I wouldn't call that decor for.
But I mean, they could have added plenty of stuff from like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow and would still fit in Not Scary Farm, in Spooky Farm, and not be too scary for kids.
Yeah.
Like they could have added that really awesome pumpkin entrance.
Yeah,
that they used to have in the Gauntlet.
The archway with all those little jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah, like that totally fits, the Headless Horseman theme.
Yeah, because he's got a jack-o'-lantern for a hood, right?
Yeah, so why not just pack that whole thing with jack-o'-lanterns? Like, kind of like what they do at Christmas with all the Christmas lights. Sync up all the jack-o'-lantern heads to music and just have them strewn everywhere.
Yeah, because that's cute during the day and could be creepy at night.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have to change anything.
Yep.
See? $1 million idea, dude.
Well,
They happen every day, folks. Every day.
So then after that, we went through Fiesta
Dia,
whatever.
Whatever the
Fiesta de los Muertos, I think is what it's called.
We didn't get a map, so we have no idea.
Yeah, there were no maps at the front entrance this year, so I was like, where do we get a map?
Like, people had them. I have no idea where they got them. But, like, as soon as you cross the threshold from
like, basically past Montezuma's Revenge.
Yeah, and you started seeing the sugar skulls, like the mood completely changed. And the talent was more aggressive. They were more, not like aggressive in a bad way, but like more kind of playful, more energetic, more confident maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Like they were more sassy, there's more attitude, definitely more character, more scare attempts.
Yeah.
Instead of just, bless his heart, but calling people ugly. Wasn't scary.
No.
These kids were, doing the knee slap with their, can't slide, you slap your knee pads and make a terrible sound. They were utilizing that. So going through there's very little decoration, but they kind of didn't need it.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of, for the theming, the whole area's themed to
it's Fiesta
Spanish
Village,
culture,
yeah.
so
it already has,
it has a giant Aztec temple for Jaguar.
Yeah.
It has everything they need.
Yeah.
It is a little brightly lit.
Yeah, but at least they were gelled.
But yeah, it was okay. It was cool. That whole side of the park's kind of interesting that way, that it's so bright. Because, that one's bright. Boardwalk is bright.
Boardwalk is super bright.
But they have fun. They do what they can do with it.
I think Boardwalk this year did a great job. I'm imagining it's like that every year. Maybe I remember it more vividly this year. Because doing the podcast, I'm kind of forcing myself to be a little bit more aware when we go through the haunts so that I can remember, and then talk about them later. So this year going through the boardwalk, I noticed that there were a lot of super cool lights, that there were fixtures up that looked kind of funky. The monsters, I was noticing more detail on the monsters. So maybe it's a natural evolution of the scare zone over the years because it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Or maybe
it's been there since 2000.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. A lot of the greats started out there. Good times. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we went through looking for some Decade Brigaders are out there, but we couldn't. Usually they're running around like crazy. It's really hard to pinpoint.
But, if it's a rainy day, or the last night of the week, I think people were kind of taking it easy and taking maybe slightly longer breaks than they should have.
Maybe.
One of my favorite characters on Boardwalk is the little chicken girl.
Oh my god,
she's probably one of my favorites.
That was adorable.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I don't know if what happened to the little girl last year that had the big poofy skirt and the big red dreads.
Oh, yeah.
The little slider. I don't know where she is. I don't even know who she is. But if you're listening or if you know her, tell her I think she's awesome and that she should get in touch with me because I want to see if she's... Anyway, I want to have a little conversation with her. Also, while we're on the subject real quick, any ladies out there who are sliders and are, decently strong sliders, I would love to hear from you because I've always felt this way. I feel like the women are underrepresented and underestimated. Our bodies are definitely made for sliding. Our femurs are longer. Physically, we're able to do it greatly. Our centers of gravity are different, but anyway, we won't get into the physics of it, but chick sliders are awesome.
I will say from when I started working Haunt to now, the amount of female monsters and characters has probably tripled.
A lot more.
There's
ladies.
a lot more. So that's really cool to see.
It is really cool. And their character development is awesome.
When I started working there, it's sad, but females were basically relegated to if they were on streets, they were in Ghost Town, and they were a
saloon girl.
A saloon girl.
Yeah.
And if they were in a maze, they were dancing on a pole in the underground, or they were the sexy vampire girls dancing on a pole in the dance club, or, the only kind of cool one was Sandy's character, the queen vampire.
But even that was super sexualized. It was
very sexualized. And now there's a lot more female characters that are like actual characters, and so that's really cool to see.
Yeah, they're still representing a feminine, aspect, but they're, just a little bit more unique than just walking around, tits and, bodice and all this kind of stuff. Like,
and now the sexualized female characters mostly played by men, which is really true. Funny.
There are still some ladies on Ghost Town who rock it. I mean, like the kitty cat that's out there now.
Yeah.
She looks stunning in that outfit. I love it. And she's just rocking boobs and this little waist, and that's her costume. But she's not slutty. She's not promiscuous.
Yeah.
She's beautiful and has a lot of character. That costume and that whole, the way that she moves, there's a lot of character. So I definitely respect that. But, that being the case, I would just love to see more ladies sliding,
So what did you think about Ghost Town this year? The setup?
I loved Ghost Town. I mean, I love Ghost Town, but the lighting this year in Ghost Town was super cool.
Yeah.
The use of that blinding light down Fog Alley.
And Fog Alley was so dark. Like, once you went past that blue light, you were pretty much like in the pitch black.
It was really hard to
cool.
see. It was scary because you never knew if you were going to run into a monster or run into a fog machine.
Yeah.
You just never know. But it's always a pleasure to hide in those shadows and watch the monsters do their thing. If you want to see monsters having fun, you park in Fog Alley. And you watch them do their thing. It's cool.
If you can see them.
You can hear them.
Yeah.
If you can't see them, you can hear them. Either by thunder jug or by, the whoosh on the ground or just by the screams.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun. It was good to see some familiar faces, good to see new faces rocking it out there. It was a good time as always.
Very cool. Yep.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think Scary Farm was this year?
Scary Farm as a whole, taking in the Hallows, which was a little less than awesome, maybe some growing pains, was going to bring it down a little bit, but Ghost Town, the other scare zones were on fire. The mazes were on fire. I'm going to say maybe 8.5 to 9.
Nice.
I mean, I definitely high marks. The only reason it's not going to be like 10, 10 all day is going to be just the new stuff that they need to figure out still, how it's going to work. And anytime you change a scare zone, you're going to have some growing pains. And that's something that the characters involved need to get an idea of their outfits, of their characters, of how they move around. I mean, that stuff takes time to develop. You know, Ghost Town's been around since the beginning. So they've had plenty of time to, a lot of those people have worked there for decades. They've had a lot of time to think about
their
who they are as a character.
Yeah.
But those guys, they were walking in, you know, straight out of wherever. So, you know, I think that it has potential. Get more headless people out there, definitely would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and just some more decor.
I'd give it a solid 9.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best years that they've had in a long time.
Yeah.
It's time to get out of here, guys.
Yeah, I guess we've been chatting at each other for long enough. Well, thanks for sticking around for the adventure. If you have any, you know, comments, please feel free to comment on the blog. Get in touch with us on Facebook. Do we have any social media accounts besides Facebook?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Casey Neihart. You can find me there. Facebook's Tales from the Fog.
Yeah, I mean, we love interaction with everybody. If you've got questions or comments.
If you guys have any ideas for shows, you know, coming post haunted attraction season, we're going to be going ghost hunting. We're probably going to do a show on aliens, which may mean we might have to do a road trip up to Tickaboo Peak, and we're mountain climbers. So we might have to scale Tickaboo Peak, which if you don't know what that is, it's the closest you can get to Area 51. And you can actually get to the top of the peak. And if you have a really good telescope or binoculars, you can look down into Area 51 and see what's going on. So that might be a fun little side trip to do. Talk about some alien stuff. Ghost stories. If you have a ghost story, send us a ghost story. We'll do a little production with it maybe. We'll tell the ghost story. That's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we're relaxed and groovy. I mean, just reach out to us. We're nice.
Make sure you like us on iTunes and rate us. The more people that rate us, the easier we are going to be able to find for other people, you know? So if they are looking for something fun and spooky to listen to, we'll pop up easier if more people rate us.
Yeah, this is new to us. Like, you know, we listen to a lot of podcasts and they always say like and subscribe, you know, and we're like, but why?
Yeah.
Like I already like you and I'm already subscribed. Why are you telling me? It's like, well, you share it and they might not have been subscribed. Yeah. So, you know, it spreads and it really works. You know, when you share something, you know, you're going to have other people, you know, get into it too. I mean, all of the podcasts I listen to, I got from somebody else recommended them to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, it works. And if you like the content that we produce, you know, you have a way to actually contribute to the content that we're producing, you know, so it's, you know, we like to look at it as one big family. We know this is a service to the fans of this industry and fans of, you know, the paranormal and that kind of thing. You know, it's for everybody.
Exactly.
So, you know, please be a part of it.
Absolutely. And until next time, I'll see you in the fog.
Bye, guys.
Bye.